The hell? Oh, there I am. Hey, what's good, peoples? Your boy Blunt here. As you can see, fighting solo. Uh, messing up as usual. But hey, you guys could have been anywhere in the world, and you chose to be here. So I appreciate that. So as you know, we went live Friday, I think it was. Um, Instead of just doing it today because of circumstances called for us to move quickly on the topic, and we had a pretty good show. So Pete's taking a day off and relaxing, and the show must go on. What up, Dan? What up, Ernest? Yeah, get his buddy in here. So if you're like me, you're coming off WrestleMania weekend, which was a little mixed for me, but yesterday's WrestleMania was great. It was great to watch. Saturday was a little, a couple of matches that were kind of cheesy. You could might as well have been watching Raw. With speaking of which, making sure tonight we get off before 8, maybe like a minute before 8, because I can't miss the Raw after WrestleMania. So sorry, guys. If you watch wrestling, you're with me on that. But we really didn't have a plan for tonight. But I don't want to keep you guys in the dark of on missing the show. I want it to be more consistent. So a couple of things I do want to touch up on. Um, I want to bring up if if you're watching this, you should be on our Next Bus Please page, right? If not, make sure you go ahead and do that. But we had made a change to Next Bus Please. Excuse me. All right, thank you. My computer popped up, screen came up. So we had made a change in about a week or two, maybe 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, to Next Bus Please, where we started to not allow political posts in our group. And the reason being is that the politics of today is very polarizing. Is we're no longer at the stage where we can agree to disagree. And so when you post up something, whether you're two or for it, it just leads to big arguments and aggravation, and we don't really necessarily want that on our page. So we decided to uh, pull that from the page. And I mean, I did send a text out there to let people know that that's what we're doing, explaining why we're doing it. But it seems like some people just don't get it. It's in the rules now. I understand if you're upset about the change, but it's not about me. It's not about Pete. It's about the group collectively. And the majority of people agree with the decision not to have politics in on that page. I mean, Facebook is huge. You can go anywhere you want and talk about politics. You just can't talk about there. It's not about censoring because we don't want to censor nobody. But I mean, you should be able to look at that and agree that if somebody posts something about um, the guy in charge, Trump, uh, that people will jump on in there and be angry because he's affecting their lives in a certain way. And then you have other people who want to defend him who think he's doing a good job. And it's like we can't agree. We can't agree. And so we don't want that. We don't want that. We want you guys to come to next us, please. If you have a gripe about the job, you can talk about the gripe, maybe get some pointers from other co-workers and stuff, and not feel alone in that, and keep it at that. The rest of that politics you could do on your own page or go to other groups that focus in on that. Uh, we don't care about the clicks. We don't care about the views. We could easily talk about that stuff and get all the views and spark back at people that don't, agree with us or whatever. It's not about that. We want people to come to the next bus, please, relax, have a good time, maybe talk some crap to each other or even disagree. But, Dan, would you stop? Fucking Dan. So I just wanted to come on it because I keep seeing this is certain people keep still posting political stuff on the page, and I have to take it down. I've given warnings out to people. I don't want to have to keep giving warnings out. You understand? We all adults here. You understand the rules of the page, and so don't post it. Just don't. If you feel like you know, it's important that the group may need to discuss it, then you can hit up one of us, one of the admins, and we talk about it. But for now, please refrain from posting anything political on the Express, please. It's just not. Maybe in the future, when things calm down and people get to the point where we can have a civil discussion about, the political sides, whether you're on the left or the right, then we could open the page back up to it. But right now, it's just not the environment we want. And you could just look anywhere if you need proof. Look anywhere they post Trump, and look in the comments, and you'll see that it's just ridiculously left or right. There's no in between. So I just wanted to get that out the way, right? So please, if you know anybody that's still posting, tell them just stop. We don't need it there. It's not that we're trying to silence them. We're just trying to keep the page friendly. And again, a lot of people agree with the decision. More people agree with the decision than disagree. It's like if I had to give it a ratio, it'd be like 15-1. So yeah, I think that was the right decision, right? So let's get into this other topic. This topic that I wanted to chat with you guys about is subway surfing. You and I know this is nothing new when it comes to transit, right? Subway surf has been around since I was a kid. I mean, I've never actually went on top to surf, but I've ridden on the side when it started to take off and jumped off real quick. I've done that. I've ran tracks and stuff like that when I was a kid. Now I'm not promoting that. That was maybe one of the dumbest things I did as a kid. I may laugh about it now, but I could tell you a story real quick. What's the reason why they retired MetroCard? Okay, I will get to that, Judy. I'm gonna tell you a story about me running the tracks when I was a kid, and this is not to promote it because again, this was one of the most dumbest things I ever did. So when I was younger, in my teens and stuff like that, me and my boys would, while we were traveling, we go in the train station, the underground, and then if we wait too long, we just say fuck it and just run to the next station. Literally run in the tunnels and stuff like that. So one day we decided to try our luck on the L train. We was on, I forgot what stop is that. If you guys live in Brooklyn, um, the stop right after the Williamsburg Bridge, the first stop after the Williamsburg Bridge coming into Brooklyn, is that Marcy Avenue? I forgot what street name of that street was. We was at that stop and we was trying to get back into deeper towards Bushwick. And we looking and no trains coming. So we say, man, fuck that. Let's run the tracks. We're like, where we gonna run the tracks here? Yeah. We start running the track. Lo and behold, while we got towards the middle, in between stations, the train started coming. We couldn't make it because the walkway on the L trains is pretty narrow, and you got a couple of feet down before you hit that floor, so you can't run at a full out sprint. So we was like, we're fucked. We had to sit down and hold the rail while the train went by. I don't see how he couldn't have seen us, but I don't think he seen us because he was pretty much moving at full speed. And the vibration of that train rolling past us and the loudness of the train, and we're holding white knuckling the rail and it shaking up and down. We're shaking up and down. It could have easily bounced us off and sent us flying, or worse, could have sucked us in and under the wheels. Um, we laugh about it now because we were scared shitless. But that was a dangerous situation, and I'm bringing this up because on page, I've been seeing a lot more uptick on subway surfing. I've seen people posting pictures, they laughing, they joking, and ha 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 he. But at the same time, you get another post where people have been killed. I think the last one I saw was a guy was found hanging upside down in between cars, dead because he was subway surfing. So I just wanted to ask you guys, like, what can we do as the rider public, as MTA employees? What can we do to help stop this from getting? It's already out of hand, but it's like I guess the media had a low um, output, a low, what do you call it? They ran out of stories or something where they didn't have anything else to talk about, and so they put it back in the spotlight. But we know that it's a problem. We need to teach our kids better. You know, if you have kids, make sure you're the first one to tell them about subway surfing. If you have to show them articles, then show them articles and pass the word. Or maybe we could go, you know, sometimes you have like uh, Parents' Day at school where you go up there and you talk about your job to your class, to the class of your student or your child. Maybe you could talk about that, you know, on that day. But we need to do, or MTA should really be putting more commercials out about that. It's like they don't even know exist, you know? Like what can we do? I think MTA should be the first one to step up and make commercials. Or maybe we have to do it for them, right? You know, if you're willing to do a commercial with me, let me know. We could do a commercial about subway surfing and other problems of transit, like, you know, assaulting bus operators or assaulting conductors and stuff like that. We could put our own commercials out and let the world see like we're in charge of this because our unions ain't doing anything about it. MTA ain't doing anything about it. Now, don't get me wrong, they have a lot of other shit to do, but I just think this is important to slide in there, you know. Like I said, we could do our own commercials, but yeah. So Judy, what up, Judy? Oh girl. She says, what's the reason they're retiring a MetroCard? It's very simple. It's outdated. You no longer need the MetroCards because of Omni. Omni's now made it possible so you could just have your phone and have your Omni Pass on your phone and just click that. So that saves them a lot of money with printing, with getting cards and stuff like that. So because you don't need it. You know, they're going to be phasing it out. The end of this year is going to be the last time you could use it, but they will be extending it next year. You're going to have a grace period from when you have to completely stop using it. So if you don't have an Omni or the app on your phone, you should yeah, you should look into getting it now because as of December, Metro cards are going to be done. Like I said again, they be done. I think 31st is the last day, but they will give you a grace period because you know people don't listen. So you know, yeah, they should be. I believe they will be. I believe they will be addressing that issue, and they're going to be switching from Metro cards to Omni. I don't know why they haven't done that now. If they already announced that that was the plan. So yeah, just invest in the Omni now. I kind of wish that Accessoride would do it because you know I get tired of having to. My sister's the one that has to bring me cash to pay for my Accessoride. I mean, I'll give her the money, but she has to go through the bank and then go to the check cash and get singles. Like, what century they living in? What up? What up? What up, Primo? So yeah, subway surfing. What can we do? I don't know. Other than that, like making a video ourselves about the dangers of subway surfing, or having MTA make a video because they. I just think they need to be a little bit more. Um, where is it? Where you at? I think they need to be a little more hands on when it comes to the safety of the public. They don't. I don't know. It's like if it ain't about the money, they don't care. But this is more important about people's lives and these kids thinking that it's fun because you get that rush of doing something you ain't supposed to do. And another reason that I'm bringing this up, I had a friend who was doing exactly what I was doing, running the tracks, and she got killed. May she rest in peace. She got killed. She didn't make it to get out the way, and the train ran her over, and she perished 2 stops away from her home. So this is a personal thing for me, and I don't want to see nobody's kid get beheaded or anything like that. I mean, it's a tragic death to have to bear, because if you're one of the guys or one of the people that's in the group that's subway surfing, and you see your friend get his head lopped off, you traumatized for life. It's not just the kid who lost his life. Everyone who survived is now traumatized. You know, so MTA needs to do something about that, and let's get this thing to stop. At least at a minimum, these kids should know nowadays not to do something that dangerous, right? But they're not. They're still doing it. They still doing it. So MTA, if you're listening, let's get some commercials or something going on where the public is aware not to do it. We got to teach our children not to do it. It's just a horrible way to go out. You can't imagine getting a phone call at night talking about, you lost your kid to something that is so dumb, but they think it's a thrill. So we have to stop that, right? So listen, we got the Queen's redesign, right? We was talking about the redesign with Whitaker on the show a couple of weeks back, right? Queens, Queens is having their redesign coming up, right? And to make this, see, they could do like this is a great opportunity to do a little awareness about subway surfing because the Queens division. Uh, they're doing MTA is doing pop ups. This is so that they can notify the public of the different changes that are happening on the redesign. Let me share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. So as you can see here, let me get to this. All these damn commercials. See. So MTA is going to host pop-ups ahead of the new Queens bus route launch. So this is a great time to put in a little information about the dangers of subway surfing. So the major changes are coming to more than 100 bus routes in Queens. MTA officials are trying to make sure New Yorkers know what to expect. I think that's a great idea, right? You know, do this before the redesign comes out. So the MTA is hosting a series of pop-up events to help alert commuters to the changes coming to their bus routes this summer. Starting in June, the transit agency will roll out new routes, discontinue some, and change others as part of the Queens uh, bus network redesign. So, if I'm not mistaken, I think they losing about 5 lines, and they're replacing them with 16 different routes. Some lines are going to be cut short or took out altogether. So, to get more deeper into that, right? Says the MTA officials will host 23 pop-up events between next Tuesday and May 22nd throughout Queens and Long Island. Each pop-up will run from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. During the event, New Yorkers can learn specifics about when and how each route will change, as well as find information on the project phase and guide. So here's like a breakdown of the pop-ups that's going to be happening. Can you see that? Can y'all see this? Did I share it? Let me know. Um, where is it? I didn't share it. My bad. Okay, so here's a breakdown. So stupid. I thought I was sharing the screen. I wasn't. So here's a breakdown of what's going to happen with the pop-ups. So on April 22nd, you're going to have uh, Jamaica 165th Street bus terminal. They'll be there from 4 to when? 6, right? That's what they said. Yeah, 4 to 6. Man, here you could take a screenshot. I'll go through a couple of them. Parcel, they'll be at Sufton, Parsons, 23rd, Queens Center Mall, 26th, Green Acres Mall, the 29th, Queensboro Community College, again on the 29th. So I guess they're going to be at two locations in Queens Village, Long Island Railroad Station, Bayside, Rockaway Boulevard, College Point. You know, they hitting all the spots in Queens. So you could take a screenshot. It goes all the way to the 22nd. They'll be back at Jamaica Parsons Center. Jamaica Center is ridiculous. I'm glad I don't work Queens. That is a madhouse. So I think that's a great way for them to get the riding public on board with what's happening because they usually don't do stuff like that. You know, the resource expos are a great way to bring awareness to that. Yeah, I mean, 2 hours only. I mean, it's transit. What you want? What you want them? they, This is how they do, right? If you guys want to, you guys want to read the article, let me. All right, I'm going to put a put a link in the live stream so you guys could follow if you want to read it on your own, just to be aware of, to be on top of things. But yeah, 2 hours is crazy. That's dirty work right there. Um, Again, this wasn't, because of what the hell. There you go. So today's show wasn't really mapped out or anything like that. It's just, because we had the Friday show. I appreciate everybody that came through on Friday. Speaking of accessorized, sorry, I got it. Okay. So everybody that came through on Friday checked out the show we was talking about. You could catch it on YouTube. Because remember, we need everybody to fly over to YouTube. Because if you're a person that doesn't catch us live and you count on the re-show, the after show or whatever, um, you're only gonna have a month left to watch if you missed anything to catch up on anything on Facebook because they're deleting everything after 30 days. So on YouTube, you don't have to worry about that. You can just watch it. They're not doing that. So if you're not on our YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Cost you nothing. Does a lot for us. Hit the like button, hit the bell so you don't miss any kind of pop ups and stuff like that. Because on YouTube we will be doing exclusive stuff. Like you see, we had a show Friday. That's going to be one of our pop ups on YouTube only. You know, um, you can still catch it if you're on Facebook. You just gotta go on YouTube. So Judy says, I'm going to the bus terminal tomorrow to speak to them. Okay. What bus terminal are you going to? And who are you going to speak to? Because that'd be interesting to hear about. If I was, I have an appointment tomorrow, so I can't do nothing. So yeah, again, Friday was a good show. It was a pop up thing, and that's something that we plan on doing for our channel. We have events like that are hot topics that need to go right away. That's going to be on our YouTube channel, right? So make sure you signed up on there. YouTube, Two Transit Misfits. Yeah. Um, that's pretty much all I got. We still got a half an hour left. I tried to stretch it as much as I could. Um, remember 8 o'clock. I'm out of here because Raw's going to be banging tonight. I got to see what John Cena is up to. But again, so just to recap everything from what we talked about, the MVP, next bus please. If you're not on that page, you're a transit worker, you should be on that page. I don't remember if we're letting outsiders in, but definitely if you're a transit worker, make sure you go to next bus please, be a part of that group where we discuss everything and your mother on there, except for politics. And remember we stopped talking about politics on that page because it's just not worth it. Too many people struggling, arguing with each other. We don't want that amongst. We got enough stress on the job as it is. Um, so yeah, probably the 106 week terminal. Put the buses on. So good luck with that because a lot of those people don't listen. They just don't. You got to find a way to capture their attention, which is basically how you do a commercial. You got to find a way to capture their attention and make it about them. That's the best way to capture their attention. You make it about them because it's just a serious issue. Subway surfing is just we're 2025. No kid should be subway surfing. No kid should be subway surfing. And I don't want to hear about they have mental disabilities. Then they shouldn't be out alone if the disability is that bad. You just shouldn't be out alone. Every kid should be aware of the major. And I think I believe they are. They just don't care because it doesn't happen to them, or it didn't happen to them, or nobody in they clique got killed because of it. Okay, so they're scared of New York communities for change. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah. So we could talk about anything else you want to talk about. We got some time before we call it the night. Um, just remember 8 o'clock, y'all. I'm not playing games. 8 o'clock, I'm out. I gotta go. Raw is war after WrestleMania is always crazy. So, mm, for people who joined us at our Rob's 100 days in office, I want to appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for commenting and stuff like that. We did ask for questions, not too many questions out. I'm not sure what that means. You can look at that any way you want, but um, the 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 culture in Gleason seems to be shifting in a good way, which is a big nod to Rob for doing it. We have new positions. Well, we have not a new position, but being that Kemp has been promoted again. Shout out to Kemp. His position is open now, so I don't know if they're going to be holding elections for that or what's going on with that. I think they be holding elections. Mm, so be on the lookout for that. If you're in Gleason, um, make sure that you make the election about who can do the job, not just about who's most popular or who's your friend. Make it about who can do the job best for the members. And hopefully, they don't forget where they come from once they get elected and just hide up in the office. We had enough of that going on for years, and the time for change is now. So let's make the change, right? The culture is going in the right direction. I'm especially proud of the women's group, the ladies at Gleason. They are doing what up, John? They are doing their thing in Gleason. They are helping to bring the morale back to Gleason to where it used to be, like when I was there. It was like a family atmosphere, and that's what they're doing. They having bake sales. They doing um, cooking. Like they just had International Food Day where everybody brought a plate from their culture and everybody was eating up well. You know, um, they're doing it big and they supposedly spreading out to other depots now too. From what I'm hearing, they supposed to be going to Normal Park to do it over there. I guess they're gonna have a click there, and hopefully that could be system wide. Because the job used to be really nice, and it's just it had changed a lot. A lot of that's because of politics and management coming down. But if you have a great union, you don't have to worry about management. You do what you're supposed to do. Let the union worry about the rest. So hopefully we got the right people in there, or we're getting the right people in there. We could change the culture around at all the depots, not just at Gleason, at all the depots. Says Ron says in New Jersey, depot officers are still at their title and tool. Yes, I mean I kind of think that that's how it should be. I mean, when if they need release, they get the release they need. But for the, you know, at least at the very minimum, once or twice a week, you go back to your tools. Just to keep your ear to the streets. Your feet in the water, and be up to date. Because sometimes it seems like they just forget how it is to be an operator. You out the chair so long, you out of your tools so long, or a a clerk, token booth clerk, it's like they forget, you know. Candace says, forget cookouts, bring back cola. Yeah, I mean, you can argue for that. That was taken away a long time ago. If we had cola, your guys' raises would be pretty significant right now. Guys would be okay, you know. That would have to be a legislative thing, I guess, and you can start to partition your elected official out of that. Oh, so you're okay. So John says I'm at my tools 4 out of 5 days. Yeah, I kind of feel like it should be you should be able to handle. I mean, if your workload allows you to be at your tools 4 out of the 5 days, then great. But I think at in Brooklyn, it's just the workload's a little bit heavier. I can't be specific on that, but they 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 should be really. I think you know, two days out of the week at their tools is good, and then the rest they could be doing union business. Says another Candace says none of this matters if everything behind the scenes is crumbling. Right, but that's what we're trying to change, right? We're trying to change things behind the scenes. You want to elect people that's going to actually do the job you want them to do, so you don't have to be worried about what's going on behind the scenes. You know, if you put the right people in there, they're gonna take care of that. But it's like lately, a lot of people's been being put in there, and all of a sudden, it's the same thing, right? It's like they go in there and then they disappear. Then they come back out when it's voting time again. Then they in your face. They ask you what you want to do. But the thing is, I can't really speak for other depots unless somebody, other depots tell me. But I've heard from West Farms, I believe it was, and they was like the corruption is crazy out there. I heard from Kingsbridge, they're like it's crazy over there. But I'm closest to Gleason because I know a lot of people in Gleason. I've heard from people from Quill. Quill, they're not unsurprisingly. There's not too much going on out there as far as them not doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, you talk about the the man who started it all, right? Quill. So yeah, you figure Quill would be on a P's and Q's. But you have other depots like Gleason where you started off in a good way and then you end up falling off, you know? Right. The new bloods that are getting elected should be trained by the people that are in there. And that's the problem, is that they're taking this loss so personal that they no longer want to pass the buck or train the younger generation into doing anything. First of all, it's hard enough for the younger generation to want to get involved. You know, gun hill, they do, right? Yeah. The younger generation don't really care because they just coming in. They just happy they got a job and they don't care about the politics. Not understanding that the politics is gonna heavily affect them at their jobs. So um, I believe Gleason started a mentorship like that. They revitalized the mentorship for the line stewards, some of the line stewards. I could be wrong or getting it mixed up, but they're doing like a mentorship where they showing the younger guys. I'm saying younger guys when I mean the newer guys, people that is just on the job. That could be anybody, right? It could be 50, 60 years old, just starting a job for a couple of years. So the newer guys, the ropes on how to conduct yourself uh, productively as a union member, um, and making sure they abide by all transit rules. Doesn't mean it's going to stick, but I think that's a start to getting the younger folks in there. Yep. Yeah, exactly. They want their money. They want their straight eight, and after that, they done. That's how the younger generation. We talking about the iced tea generation. They want instant iced tea. That's it. They don't want to sit there and brew and step the tea. They just want instant iced tea, and that's the mentality we have to try to get over. You know, so these older folks would need to start taking them under the wing and um, showing them the ropes. But a lot of the people, like the older folks, don't care neither. They like, yo, I got my papers in my pocket. I don't care what happens after I leave. And that shouldn't be the way it is for a union. You want to train the younger union members to come up so that they could be ready to fight the big fight, right? Because transit is always trying to take, take, take. Their job as a company is to maximize profits, but then they want to also streamline the operation to where it's at its peak efficiency, right? So basically, they want you to do more work in less time for less pay, so they could be richer. Their pockets could get richer, and they already started that. They already started that. I mean, the double the accordion buses. It's the job of two operators. Yeah, they gave you what 50 cent a dollar raise to do that, right? But honestly, that's a bargain. That's a steal. You're doing the work of two operators for $1 more instead of your regular rate pay. You know, yeah, that's the problem. That's another problem is the OGs will have the attitude, not just towards the jobs, towards everybody. Like they got a chip on their shoulder when they should be happy they're about to be out. And if they cared about the job, which they don't, then they should be, training the younger ones. Yo, this is how you do it. This is what you don't do. This is what you do. And not just the bad stuff, the proper stuff, right? But they don't. Yeah. Yep. That on my way out feeling is killing the future. It very much is. It is killing the future. The future is what pays your pension. And that's another thing when you talk about what pays your pension. Not only your pension, your medical, right? They robbed you already. They already robbed you guys, and you don't. A lot of you guys don't even know it with this Medicare Advantage. I know I keep going back to that, but they robbed you guys with that. You paid into FICA ever since you started working, so you're supposed to be due traditional Medicare when the time comes. You're not going to get that now. You're going to get Medicare Advantage. You didn't pay for that. That's a for-profit company on your medical issue. You know what they care about? The bottom line. They don't care about you. They care about the bottom line. And a lot of people, because they're not having any issues right now, they don't care. Oh, it's fine. I don't care. Until they have an issue where your doctor's out of network or they just don't want to deal with Medicare Advantage. Now you got to find somebody else. God forbid it's something. life threatening, and they deny you service. Now you want to fight. Can't it don't work like that, man. You got to be in it. And there's people right now in TW 100R Inc. that are fighting to get that traditional Medicare back. Everybody should be involved in that, but people act like because it's not about them. It ain't hurting them. They don't care. Mm. For instance, my other issue is when I was in and NYCTA surface. I was TA and only worked in OA house. But when I asked about running where I worked, I heard nothing but for it. Mm, mm, that's crazy. You was TA but only worked in OA house. And I know OA they run a lot differently than TA. So that had to be something for you. Yeah, definitely, Ron. What up, Ron? Yeah, they saved on the benefit package. Yeah, the 20% that they were covering, they don't cover no more. So they saving money, or they put it towards something else. Yeah, the runs being killed. hmm So the runs are being killed, and what I mean, but who's I mean, think about it, Cannon. Who's killing the runs? Are they just taking the runs away, or people running or doing stupid things, which causes them to look at the manifest of how many people are boarding a bus? And if you're not hitting that F5, the run's going to be gone the next time it comes around. So it's like we're shooting ourselves in the foot. Let's talk about like you can kill a run. Let's say you have a school run, right? And the majority of those school kids are not going to pay. They're not going to dip their card in. They got a free card or a half fare card. They're not going to pay. They're just going to walk in. And you just let them go. You pack your bus and you let them go. You take them to the train. Next time they're doing runs, they're going to look at your bus and say, well, nobody's paying. Nobody's getting on the bus. That's how they see it. So since only 5 people got on the bus, which is the amount of people that paid, we don't need that run. So they're going to cut the run, right? So now that person, whoever used to pick that, he's not out of the job, but that might have been the perfect run for him. Now he's forced to pick something else. And then the bus that's supposed to be there at that particular time, it's going to get even more packed because that bus is no longer there. So we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot with that. You got to hit that F5 all the time too. It's not just MTA just trying to cut runs because they want to cut runs. There's a system to it. It says system wide and the overhiring. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Save transit money. That's what's going on. Well, that's their bottom line, right? Their company. That's what they want to do. Companies companies all about the bottom line. Transit is no different, right? Sure, you may have some bosses that seem like they care about you and they kind of cool and they do all the right things, but they work for a company that's all about the bottom line. They're trying to get money from the government because, that's what they want to do, right? And they're not trying to give it to you. They want to put it in their pockets. Uh-oh. No, it's not just the operators, Cannon. It's not just the operator, but I'm just giving you a scenario why some of those runs get cut the way they do. I'm not blaming it all. I'm not laying it all at the operator's feet. Transit wants to save as much as they can, no matter how or who it affects, as long as their bottom line is good. All right. Rod says, I'm going to say something that many people don't want to hear. the runs be getting cut because you got new blood that think they patter with scripture and be running hot. Aside from the fair beating issue, yeah, that's another thing. They making the paddles work when they shouldn't. They shouldn't. So if your paddle is forcing you to drive fast and you making the time work, and they keep shaving minutes off of that run, and you still make it work, they're gonna keep shaving minutes off of the run. They're gonna keep shaving and shaving and shaving until they don't need that bus no more. You know. So if you drive your 15 miles per hour, I don't know what it is in your city, but yeah, none of those paddles should work. They shouldn't, and nobody should be forcing it to work. I get that you want to go home. A lot of that times is you want to go home, you just want to get out of there, so you start flying down the line, right? But that's when most accidents happen on your last trip, right? You're trying to get home, going fast. You're not really caring about the rules and regulations, or you're trying to let it slip. Boom, accident happens. Yeah, don't make the paddle work. We say that, we say it all the time. Don't make the paddle work. Take your time, get from A to B. If the dispatcher don't put you in place, okay, let's keep it pushing. That's what I used to do. I would get to the end. I'm 15 minutes down. I look at the dispatcher. He look at me. He ain't say nothing. Keep it pushing. Start whistling Dixie all the way down. Get back to the end of the at the depot. I'm an hour late. Get my cut slip and go home. You know. Robert says, Whitaker, what's good? Yes, they're, yes, but they're not supposed to be like, but okay, okay. Candace says, my dumb don't work because of F5. These buses keep count of who's boarding. So if you don't press F5, how do they keep count? Is there like a sensor or something on the new buses that I don't know about? Because they ain't no, and then somebody ain't gonna be sitting in the office counting in the video the heads that come in there. I have a T-shirt that says "Pass me by, pass me by." Something about F5, something like that. I forgot what it was. It's an old T-shirt. Yeah, let me know, Kat. If you don't hit the F5, how do they keep count? Every depot's gonna look. Oh, ooh, shots fired, Cannon. Oh, is that shots fired, bro? Every depot's gonna look like Flatbush. Is that disrespectful? What's going on? Hey, now, hey, look, Cannon said it, not me, y'all. Cannon. I don't know. I don't know if that's disrespectful. It says no disrespect, which usually means full respect, full disrespect. But I'm not one to say don't. Yep, there you go. Take them personal. Kill a light or two. Just be safe. They can't tell you nothing about being safe. Mhm. So run late on a boost run. Run late on a boost run. You can't worry about things like that. You got a boost run. It's like you're gonna be losing money because you got the boost run or whatever. They might take away the boost run if you're always late, right? I mean, I get that it's like losing money. You're kind of jipping yourself when you have the boost run, but it collectively, if we all do it, there shouldn't even be a boost run. That's how I feel. The MTA should not be acting like a company, but like an authority. Um, I'm trying to think what's the difference between authority and a company. I mean, MTA is usually MTA operates more like the military than it does anything else. But at the end of the day, it's still a company, and the end of the day, it's the bottom line that they're most concerned about. That's why they hire so many people to make sure things are covered. They don't care about um, losing one or two operators because they got thousands waiting to become a part of their company. So they don't really care about that. Oh, since they are sensors above the door that count passengers. Oh, I didn't know that. Hmm, interesting. Hmm. So now that there are sensors, do you have to hit the F5? Or you no longer have to hit the F5 because the sensors are on above the doors. Hmm, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Since the new buses keep count, there's a counter above the front door and the back door. Oh, see, you learn something new every day. I didn't know that. John says, lead the boost run up to the crew and any delays write it on your, guess he meant write it on your trip sheets. There you go. Simple. See how that problem was solved? We should make the MTA a public utility. Hmm. So you want it to be privately owned? Is it privately owned? I'm not sure what a public. You mean like what's an example of a public utility? Forgive my ignorance here, but what's an example of a Johnson's military? More like McHaley's Navy. Yeah, I know. It's crazy how as much as we complain about it though, MTA. I mean, I think that's with all jobs. You get in the job, you're happy, you're excited, you got the job. A couple of years roll by, you start getting disgruntled, and then you're like, ah, fuck this job. You know that MTA has afforded a lot in your life, right? Most of the guys that work for MTA, they have houses, they have pensions, they have medical, they're raising families, they're doing well, they're taking trips. You know, you got to look at the good stuff, man, not just the bad stuff. The bad stuff, you just roll up your sleeves and get through it, and then you focus on the good stuff. I was able to go to Hawaii. That was like on my bucket list. I was able to have a house. I had a car. You know, I came from the project, so you know that was that's a big deal for me. Yeah, Pete took the night off. Well, Keyspan. Pete took the night off because we had went live Friday on a special pop up show because of the importance and the timing of the issues that we were talking about. If you missed it, it's on our YouTube channel. Let's look it up. What up, Susie? Long time no see. So yeah, um, listen, we getting close to 8 o'clock, and you already know. You already know what the deal is, right? So hopefully, Pete be back next week. We'll have some more topics and talk about some more interesting stuff to get into. Um, my recap was the MVP page. Remember, no politics, guys. Please refrain from putting politics up on the page. MVP live. I just crossed it. I can't see the subway surfing. Let's find a way that we can address this issue with the public. Um, MTA should be making announcements on the PA about it. Putting they have TVs on the buses, right? They should be doing commercials about it, or just put commercials out there. Period. I'm willing to do a commercial if you guys want to do it with me. We could do our own commercial and start placing it all around so that we spread the word and let them look at us doing what we supposed to be doing. Yeah, he took a pay. Yeah, Pete, Pete took it personal. Call out sick. I'm about to send a call to the house. Better oversight. Okay. So if it becomes a public utility, there's better oversight. Or why not just put more oversight? Why change it to a public utility? Just add more oversight, right? Josh says you guys are lucky that you guys got to hit that five. In New Jersey, our fare system is way different. We have to actually click two buttons: fare set and issue. For every passenger that boards and everyone gets a receipt transfer. Oh, fare set and issue. So it's two buttons. So they got brolic thumbs out in Jersey. They got brolic thumbs out in Jersey. So next time I ride Jersey, I'll be like, yo, where's my receipt? He's on the Russian Express getting killed. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But you know how they say in show business, right? The show must go on. The show must go on. Listen, guys, I appreciate you guys checking in on me, not leaving me all alone by myself. Hopefully, next week we're back to our regularly scheduled program. I got 5 minutes, so I'm going to go fix my food and clock my TV in because I don't want to miss a minute of Raw. So, hey, Peace not here to do his line, but I am your boy Blunt. I appreciate you guys checking in, coming in. You could have been anywhere in this world right now, but you chose to be here with me, and I appreciate y'all. So so you guys, you want something from the store while I end this show? Guys, listen. I'll see you guys next week, if not sooner. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to there because Facebook's starting to do their thing. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell and stay notified because we will be having these pop-ups, and it will be exclusively to YouTube. So I appreciate you guys watching. You guys have a good night. Enjoy the week. Enjoy the holidays. Oh yeah, happy Easter, y'all. It passed. Yeah, I know. Make sure you check in next week, right? Cannon. Make sure you have his doctor's lines. We're gonna hold him to that. All right. So with that said, for Brooklyn Pete, I am your boy Blunt, and that's the end of our show. So fuck them if they can't take a joke. Peace, y'all.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.